Hello everyone. Today we are going to discuss Degree 4th Sem Unit 5, the Doll's House lesson. Okay, and this is uh, in response to the request made by Deepa, one of my subscribers and the student. And here we go now. In my video, the overview will be like that. First, I'll be explaining the lesson briefly, and then I'll be discussing the comprehension questions, question and answers with the solutions. Okay, so let us discuss the characters first in this story, The Doll House. Why? Because without the characters, it'll be a little bit difficult to understand the story. Okay, there are two families in this story: the Burnell's family and then the Kelvy's family. Burnell's family are very rich, and Kelvy's family are very poor. So there is a kind of discrimination between the rich and the poor in this lesson. This is the gist of the lesson. So three daughters of the family. The elder one is Isabel, and Lottie is the second one, and Kezia is the third one. Then comes Aunt Beryl. She's a snobbish lady. That means she looks down upon the poor people. Then comes Mrs. Hay, who is the guest of the family. Okay. Then coming to the Kelvy's family, we have the mother. She's a very poor woman, a washerwoman, and then the father. He's rumored to be in prison, some convict. And then comes Lil Kelby. She's the eldest daughter, and Elsie is the youngest daughter. So these are the characters which we are going to discuss in this story. And then there are some school children also will be there. A Doll's House by Catherine Mansfield. So I always ask you to discuss the pre-reading questions, and I want you to discuss the third question. Do you think one's social and economic background affects the way, whether at your workplace or at the educational field? Does it really make a difference being rich and poor? Now, coming to the author, she's born in New Zealand, that is Catherine Mansfield, and she began writing stories from a very young age, but unfortunately, she died at the age of 35 due to tuberculosis. And today, she is considered the most famous author of short stories, and her stories were translated into many languages. This information you will be using to write about the author. Okay, now coming to the lesson. I told you this is a story indicating the discrimination between rich and the poor families. Okay, the story begins with Mrs. Hay. She is a guest at the rich family Burnells, and she stays for some time in their house and she leaves. And she sends a present to the children, a doll's house, a beautiful doll's house to the children. Okay, and the doll's house is so beautiful, the children really start liking it. But there is one aunt called Beryl. Her name is Beryl. She has always complaining. Yeah, that is a doll's house. She always complains, students. Now she complains the smell of the paint, and she wants the house to be in the courtyard. Then, but the children are very excited because they had never seen anything like that in their lives. Okay. The little one, Kezia. You remember the three sisters? Isabel, Lottie, and Kezia. The last one, Kezia, liked the house like anything, especially the lamp she likes very much. There is a lamp in the doll house, but that she likes very much. Okay, she is Kezia. Now, the children were burning to tell everybody to describe the house in their school. Okay, but the school they went, it's a kind of place where the rich parents did not like it at all. Especially parents like the judges' children, doctors' children, because the storekeepers' children and the milkman's children also studied there. They didn't like it, but there was no choice because there was only school nearby. So, but the line had to be drawn. What line? Line of discrimination. And it was drawn at the Kelvys. There was another family called Kelvys, very poor family. And you remember their children, mother is a washerwoman and father is said to be in the prison. Okay, they had two daughters, Lil and Elsie. They are the very poor children, and always, they were not allowed to mix with them, other children, the Kelvis. Okay, they were shunned by everybody. Nobody allowed them to talk. Even the teacher had a different kind of treatment towards them. Okay, and they started the Bernal's children, they described their house, doll's house, and they invited all the school children to watch the doll house except um, these two Kelvis. Okay, and one thing, whenever the little daughter of Kelvis, Elsie, is mentioned, the author uses our Elsie. This shows that author wants the readers to sympathize with Elsie. So in that you have to notice when you read the story, every time she mentions Elsie, she writes our Elsie. Okay. Then the dollhouse became the subject of rage. Rage means sensational. It became a sensational, and every student was invited. Then the last girl, Kezia, she asked her mother, "Can I ask the Kelvis to watch the dollhouse?" She asked. But mother bluntly refuses, certainly not. She does not allow Kezia to show the dollhouse to the children, to the Kelvis family, because they were very poor. At last everybody had seen except them. Them means the Kelvis. On that day the subject rather flagged. Flagged means the intensity reduced because it became boring now. People stopped talking about it, and then the news topic is they start abusing the Kelvis, teasing them because they were poor, and they say that is it true that you are going to be a servant when you grow up, Lil Kelvi? So a girl called Lena, she teases Lil, but she feels very bad. Okay. Then Kezia invites these Kelvis to come and see the doll's house. You can come and see our doll's house if you want to, said Kezia. But they were hesitant. But finally, she convinces them and they enter the dollhouse. But suddenly, what happens? The Aunt Beryl arrives there. She shouts, "Kezia!" At the back door stood Aunt Beryl, staring as if she couldn't believe what she saw. So, and she drives them away. Both the sisters Lil and Elsie were driven by Aunt. She shoos them like animals, as if they were chickens, it seems. So, burning with shame, shrinking together, they leave the house. But when they both sit at the roadside and they talk to each other, and the little Elsie says, "I seen the lamp, the little lamp," she said softly. That means before the aunt sends them away, she manages to see the lamp, because Kezia always describes lamp. She likes the lamp very much. And remember, students, lamp has a significance. Okay, it shows the light, the ray of hope which is coming in the future. Then little Elsie smiled her rare smile. That smile also has a significance in the story. So this is the gist of the summary of this dollhouse, students. Hope you understood it. Now moving on to the comprehension question. There are 5 short answers. Who gifted the dollhouse to whom and on what occasion? Dear old Mrs. Hay went back to town after staying with the Burnells. She sent the children a doll's house. The family received the doll's house as a thank you gift from Mrs. Hay. Because she stayed in their house, she sent the gift. Second question, name the Burnell children. You remember all the names: Isabel Burnell, Lottie Burnell, and Kezia Burnell. And in what ways Kezia is different? Kezia is very kind hearted and she's shy, and she invites the Kelvis to visit the doll's house against her mother's instruction. This shows her kindness and warmth towards humans, and she does not understand and does not like the discrimination between the rich and the poor. Third question, how are the Kelvi children treated by other kids? As far as the treatment of others, the upper class kids of the school and their parents have a prescribed way of treating the Kelvis. They look down upon them, and the teacher also looked down upon the Kelvis. That's what you have to write, students. Then the fourth question, how did Aunt Beryl react when she discovered Kezia with the Kelvis and why? The character of Aunt Beryl is quite annoying since she is complaining, always she is complaining and looking down upon the poor children. And she is oblivious to the feelings of others. Oblivious means not bothered. Okay, and because she scolds them very cruelly, shooing the Kelvis away and slamming the doll's house closed. And we find that she is perhaps hiding a secret that the reader never gets to know. Our secret is she has an affair with a man, uh, and then she didn't want it to be leaked out. And but that man threatens her and invites her to come to a place mentioned. If she doesn't come, he threatens that he is going to reveal the secret. So she was very much upset, disturbed, and annoyed, and that anger she pours it on the little children. The last, this is very important, student, from the examination point of view. This is an expected question. I seen the lamb. Who said this to whom? Explain the significance. Little Elsie said that to her elder sister Lil Kelby. The above line has an immense significance in the story and it plays the role of pun. Pun means one word or sentence has two different meanings. Here, firstly, it indicates that she has sensed the light of friendship coming from Kezia and it feels delightful. Secondly, she felt happy because she was able to see the famous miniature oil lamp that was part of the decoration of the Vernon sisters' doll's house before Aunt Beryl sends them away. So these are the short answers, students. Now we'll move on to essay type questions. The first essay type question is enumerate the differences between the Bernal and the Kelvey children. So this is the examination model I have given you, how you have to write the subheadings. First, the introduction. The Doll's House is a disturbing story of a society in which snobbery and cruelty are regarded as acceptable behavior. It is ultimately redeemed by Kezia's attempt at kindness. Snobbery means looking down upon the poor people. Then comes about the author. Mansfield, that is Catherine Mansfield, was born in New Zealand when the country was still a British colony in which class distinctions, that means the discrimination between rich and poor, were rigidly maintained. Her best known short story, The Garden Party, also deals with this same subject. There are biographical parallels between the Burnell family and Mansfield's own Beauchamp family. That means she belongs to Beauchamp family. It's a personal element she has written there, and also between Kezia and the young Catherine Mansfield. She identifies with Kezia. That means the author, Catherine, identifies herself with Kezia and writes this short story, students. That is about the author, or you can add any other information you know it. Then the theme. The central theme in Catherine Mansfield's story is the cruelty of class distinctions. Catherine Mansfield uses this theme as a vehicle for a stinging portrait of the cruelty that was directed toward lower class children. This portrait also contains a more sinister allusion. Sinister means very pathetic allusion to the pleasure that people, children, and adults alike derive from abusing those less materially fortunate. Then this is the context. The means your answer to the question differences between the two classes. So you can start one day. Isabel, Lottie, and Kezia Burnell are given a beautiful dollhouse by a house guest. Burning to boast about their new dollhouse, the classmates, the girls go to school the next morning. They are permitted to bring other girls home two by two to see the doll's house in the courtyard. However, the Burnell girls are not allowed to speak to the Kelvys, whose mother is a washerwoman and whose father is rumored to be in prison. The story also contains a more sinister allusion to the pleasure that people, children, and adults alike derive from abusing those less materially fortunate. Less materially fortunate means poor, and these Kelvy sisters are avoided by their schoolmates, and even the teacher has a special voice for them and a special smile for the other children. Means a kind of mockery smile or a teasing smile she has. When the girls at school tire of the dollhouse, they look for fresh amusement by inciting Lena Logan to abuse the Kelvys verbally. So this is the girl who starts abusing the Kelvis taunting them about their future and their father. This makes the little rich girls wild with joy. So a kind of sadistic pleasure is noticed among the rich kids. Okay. Then after Aunt Beryl abuses the Kelvy girl, shooing the little rats from the dollhouse in the courtyard, she happily hums as she returns to the house, her bad mood dispersed. So that is how Aunt also behaves. Then comes the conclusion. By frequently calling the girl our else, the author calls whenever she mentions else, she says our else. The author enlists the reader's sympathies. Mansfield uses the doll's house itself as a metaphor, means a comparison, for the world of the rich upper class and creates a symbolic language surrounding it. The entire story surrounds the doll's house. Students, you might have noticed. The final view of the Kelvys after seeing the doll house resting together on their way home picks up on the spiritual overtone in the story. Beryl's cruelty is forgotten. They forget. The little lamp that Elsie has seen, a symbol for Kezia's kindness and human warmth that defies the inhumane tyranny of class distinction. Class distinction means um, discrimination between poor and rich, is a light that shines in the darkness of the life of this child. Something real is redeemed as Elsie smiles her rare smile at the end of the story. So there is a ray of hope, students. So that was the answer. And the third question, why don't all the houses open like that? What does the author convey through this remark? How does this line relate to the larger theme of the story? So same introduction about the author, theme, context you can write, students. Only thing, conclusion you can change. Okay, for the third question. Mansfield uses the doll's house itself as a metaphor for the world of rich upper class and creates a symbolic language surrounding it. The dollhouse opens by swinging its entire front back to reveal a cross section. When they try to open it up, students, it twists and turns down. So perhaps it is, the author says, perhaps it is the way of God opens houses at the dead of night when he is taking a quiet turn with an angel. You remember in the end, Elsie sees the lamp and she smiles. So that is the God's turn, because she never expected that Kezia or any of the rich kids would talk to them, but Kezia talked to them, though she is rich. So that is the turn God has created. It is through Elsie's eyes that the reader sees into this world that normally would remain brutally close to a poor child. The little amber lamp that Kezia loves comes to represent what is real or of real value in an otherwise desolate emotional world. It is apparently the description of the lamp that Elsie overhears that emboldens her to ask Lil to go see the dollhouse against Lil's better judgment. First, her elder sister Lil was hesitating to go inside the dollhouse, but here Elsie provokes her, or a kind of gives a kind of courage to her to go and see the dollhouse. So this is the ending, student. That is how the God opens doors for the poor people. So that is the conclusion, students. This is the way you have to write the examination answers. Hope you understood. If you have any doubts, you can put them in the comment section. Thanks for watching. And if this video tutorial had made sense, please do not hesitate to like, share and subscribe. That means a lot. Okay, bye bye for now. Let's meet up in the next video.